Hi guys and welcome back to the Nordic Watch channel. Long time no see. I've been busy with my new job, finishing up my studies finally and moving to Helsinki also. But now I'm back. I'm Anders from Finland and today I'll be sharing with you my thoughts about the Seiko SRPD97 or SARY147. Now this watch model is not as established as most of the models which I review usually. But I would say that this one is picking up some momentum, partly due to the shortage of the Seiko Sarb035 line. The Seiko Presage line is famous for some really nice dials and watches, but not many of them come in a compact size, such as this one. There are quite a bit of funky watches in the Seiko Presage lineup, and many of them are quite large, especially for the dressier designs. The SRPD97 is a part of the Japanese Garden collection, and as you can see there's also a black dial version, the SRPD99. With the SRPD97 however, I feel like Seiko hit the sweet spot with both size and design. This watch isn't really a homage or copy of any other model or brand. I think that the dial itself and the design screams Seiko, and it could maybe be considered as a homage to the Grand Seiko Snowflake. I reviewed another 38mm Seiko Presage earlier, so go check it out if you're interested in the newer Seiko Cocktail Time models with the stunning dials. I'm not quite sure whether I should call this watch a dress watch or an everyday watch, so I'll go ahead and call it a dressier everyday watch. It comes on a bracelet, which gives it some sporty vibes, but stay tuned towards the end of the video to see how well it works on all kinds of straps, especially leather straps. The packaging is a basic Seiko box, nothing special to mention, so moving straight on to the watch. First things first, this watch is obtainable when it comes to price, but it is a step up from the entry-level automatics like Seiko 5s and Orient Bambinos, so it's not super cheap by any means. I couldn't find it on Amazon, but brick and mortar stores in Finland sell it for around 500 euros, and some Singapore stores, which I've used before, have it for less than $400 brand new, import tax not included in that. Now about the size of this watch. The diameter is 38mm, which is quite fitting for a classy dress watch like this one. The other dimensions are also suitable. The thickness is 11mm with a slightly domed crystal, and the lug-to-lug distance is a very modest 44mm, which I think is spot on. The watch has a common 20mm lug width, which I think is great. On the stock bracelet with 4 links removed for my wrist, the watch weighs a very subtle 109 grams, which makes it comfortable and quite unnoticeable on wrist, which is just what you want with a dress watch. The finishing on the case is pretty basic and possibly the only boring aspect of this watch. As many Presage Seikos in this price category, the case finishing is rather basic with almost everything being polished and virtually no brushed surfaces. While a polished case is quite typical for a dressier watch, this case could have done with some brushing here and there. The watch has a polished see-through caseback showcasing the caliber 4R35 automatic movement. The see-through screw-down caseback is protecting the movement, but the watch does only have a low water resistance of 30 meters. However, it's enough for not having to worry about wearing it on a rainy day, which is what you would wish for a dress watch. The gold tone finishing on the rotor is an appropriate touch to make this an interesting movement to glare at if this is your first watch with a see-through caseback. The in-house 4R35 movement comes with hacking and hand winding and has a power reserve of around 40 hours. It's one of the most common automatic movements out there, and I say that as a compliment. It's reliable and easy to get serviced, and beats at 21,600 beats per hour, giving the seconds hand a smooth enough sweep. The crown has 3 positions. First one is for the winding, second one is for setting the date, and the third one is for setting the time. The crown itself does have the Seiko S branding on it, which is a nice little detail. This Seiko comes on a metal bracelet, which I haven't used all that much to be honest. It's not that it's bad or anything, this watch just looks so good on different straps as you'll see soon. So the stock bracelet is a solid 5-link bracelet. The wide links are brushed, while the narrow ones are polished, as are the sides. The bracelet tapers down from 20mm at the lugs down to around 16 or 17mm at the clasp. The end links are also solid, and the overall feel of the bracelet is good. I think it feels elegant. I like that the bracelet has brushed surfaces, but I would love it if the case would have some brushing to match it. However, even having some brushing on the bracelet is good because a fully polished bracelet doesn't look all that classy, in my opinion, oftentimes. The end links could have been matched better together with the lugs, I think. As you can see, it's a slight mismatch, which is nothing new in a sub €1,000 Seiko, of course. Unfortunately, the links are held together with a pesky pin and collar system, which is quite tricky once you do it for the first time, but quite easy when you get the hang of it. I have a video where I show how to size a pin and collar bracelet with my Seiko Sumo, link up in the corner there. The clasp is a butterfly clasp, which I'm not oftentimes a fan of, and it becomes somewhat hidden once closed. It's a nice and elegant touch, even though I prefer something that allows for micro adjustments, which this clasp doesn't. However, I was lucky enough that I still found a good fit without micro adjustments. There are some half links in the bracelet which give opportunities for exacter sizing, but it's a bit of a hassle with the pin and collar system. All in all, the bracelet gets a thumbs up from me, even though the fine link system does feel kind of elderly to me. And as I said, I prefer to wear it on leather straps anyway. Now pay attention that the crystal is a slightly domed sapphire crystal, and I'm really pleased to get sapphire here since we have seen Seiko put hardlex crystals on watches of this price before and also more expensive watches. Zooming a little bit closer through that sapphire, we can see that this dial has this beautiful kind of sandy or frosty texture, which is not really visible from far off. The closer you get, the cooler the texture looks, I think. The color of the dial, I'd say, is a pure white or even a little bit towards silver. The finishing on the applied indices is matching, and I've never seen that on indices before with that kind of grainy texture in the middle and polished steel on the sides. The light just glimmers beautifully on these indices. There's a printed minute track on the chapter ring with round markers as opposed to the typical lines you often see. I think the date window at the 3 o'clock position is a nice touch. It doesn't look misplaced at all, and I think it's tastefully done and doesn't bother the overall harmony of the dial. A date function also makes this watch a more convenient everyday kind of watch for those who still use their watch for time and date and not just as an accessory. There's no lume on the indices or hands, as per usual for proper dress watches. I think this is the right call by Seiko, no need for lume on watches like this one. The dressy leaf style hands have a polished finish, and it looks to me like the shape of them is a little bit round. The second hand is painted a vibrant blue, which adds a nice pop of color on the dial. It's not thermally blued, but a really nice color nonetheless, in my opinion. Now let's get down to size and wearability of this watch. As usual, I have some comparisons here to give you some perspective. As you can see, it's very similar to the Seiko Sarb033 and the SIN 556A. And it's a lot smaller than a Seiko SKX, just for reference. Everyone knows that size. For a 6.5-inch wrist like mine, the size is just perfect. The lugs curve downwards, and the watch just sits beautifully on the wrist. Super comfortable too. I'm surprised with how versatile this watch is with regards to different straps. During the summer, I even wore it on a NATO or nowadays nylon strap, which I think just looks so summery. At 11mm thick, it's quite slim and slides under the cuff nicely. I just love how this fits. Originally, I bought this watch for review purposes, but I've been using it for a year already and I love it, and I'm not sure if I'm going to sell it. Now for just a few strap options. The 20mm lugs ensures that many of you will have straps lying around ready to be put on this watch, so no 19 or 21mm lugs here. I think this watch just goes great with leather straps, nylon straps, you name it, and even on the stock bracelet. It's just the watch for almost every occasion. You can put together some really summery combinations with this one, which will look great with some linen shirts or you name it. And my personal favorite have definitely been these leather straps, and you can see why maybe. I think both on this black strap from Nordic watch straps and this brown one from StrapsCo just look fantastic. I'm quite sure that I would be satisfied with having this Seiko as my dress watch for years to come. To summarize, this watch has a lot going for it, with very few weaknesses in my opinion. The finishing on the case is a little bit plain and the water resistance could be better, but both are typical for a dress watch, so can't really complain about those either. The bracelet is not quite for my taste, and I very much prefer to wear this watch on a leather strap, but that being said, the bracelet is proper quality and also very comfortable. Other than that, I think the design and look of this watch is fantastic. It's really classy and elegant and also an original design. The price is bearable but not fantastic. At around 400 to 500 euros or dollars, it's a good deal but nothing out of this world. If you have a 6 to 6.5 inch wrist, I dare to say that this won't be too large for you. But that's it for this video. Stay tuned for more reviews on watches. Check me out on Instagram at Nordic Watch Channel, and please like and subscribe if you found this content useful. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye bye.